morning. Welcome to Tribune News on Q, your go-to morning news source, only here at the Daily Tribune. We're live at Daily Tribune PH on YouTube and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok. For today's headlines. A lawyer for Sara Duterte presented alleged evidence claiming key witness Ramil Madriaga fabricated his testimony in her impeachment case, citing a message suggesting the accusations were pure fabrication. Sharon Garin said a diesel rollback of up to 20.89 pesos per liter and a 4.43 pesos gasoline cut may take effect this week, but warned it depends on the stability of the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. The Malacanang press corps denied allegations they're being paid to hide the health condition of Ferdinand Marcos Jr., rejecting claims of bias and undue influence. Saudi Arabia said its east-west oil pipeline and energy facilities have been restored and are fully operational again after attacks by Iran across the Gulf. Talks between United States and Iran failed to end as the Middle East conflict, as China is reportedly preparing to supply air defense systems to Tehran, with J.D. Vance saying a final and best offer had been made. Marcelino Libanan proposed using Malampaya gas project revenues estimated at over 18 billion pesos annually to fund coastal petroleum storage facilities and strengthen the country's fuel reserves against global disruptions. Sabrina Carpenter delivered a show-stopping headlining set at Coachella 2026, transforming the desert into a glittering old Hollywood-inspired dreamscape with cinematic staging and narrative flair. Creamline Cool Smashers battled through losses, health setbacks, and a tough play-in route, using adversity to fuel the redemption run in the 2026 PVL All-Filipino Conference. Today is the 13th of April 2026, Monday, and I'm Eliana Lacap bringing you today's top stories. Let's kick things off with today's weather. Super Typhoon Sinlaku has a low chance of entering the Philippine area of responsibility as it continues to move away from the country according to Pag-asa. As of 2 a.m., it was located 2,580 kilometers east of Visayas, packing maximum sustained winds of 205 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 250 kilometers per hour, moving westward at 15 kilometers per hour. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country will have partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms due to localized thunderstorms. Light to moderate winds and slight to moderate seas will prevail nationwide. Now for a traffic update. Light traffic is reported at Balintawak Cloverleaf southbound, Balintawak Toll Plaza, Mindanao Toll Plaza, Bukawi Toll Plaza, and San Fernando northbound and southbound lanes. An active counterflow for southbound motorists is in place from after Bukawi Toll Plaza to Balintawak. All other areas of NLEX, SATEX, and NLEX connector, including Toll Plaza and interchanges, are experiencing light traffic. Now let's move on to this morning's headlines. A lawyer for Sara Duterte, Paulo Panelo Jr., presented alleged evidence claiming key witness Ramil Madriaga fabricated his testimony in her impeachment case. Panelo cited a message supposedly from Madriaga calling the allegations pure fabrication and claimed the witness sought release from detention in exchange for testifying. Madriaga had accused Duterte and her husband of links to money and illegal drugs. Duterte has filed a perjury complaint. Panelo also mentioned possible ties to Antonio Trillanes but admitted to no direct evidence. Madriaga is set to testify before the House Justice Committee on April 14th. Now, Energy Secretary Sharon Garin said motorists may see significant fuel price rollbacks this week, with a diesel potentially dropping by up to 20.89 pesos per liter, gasoline by 4.43 pesos, and kerosene by 8.50 pesos from April 14th to the 20th. The estimates are based on recent global price movements but remain subject to change depending on developments in the U.S. pause in hostilities with Iran. Guardian said actual pump price cuts may vary and could reverse if tensions escalate. The DOE is also launching a fuel subsidy program for jeepney drivers with discounted fuel in select routes before nationwide rollout. Now, the Malacanang Press Corps has denied allegations that its members are being paid or influenced by the administration to conceal reports on President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s health. In a statement, the MPC said its coverage is based on verified reporting, direct sources, and a first-hand observation and condemned efforts to discredit journalists and spread misinformation. The group also rejected claims that it acts as content creators or spreads fabricated stories. The denial follows social media posts by former NTF-ELCAC spokesperson Lorraine Badoy alleging journalists received payments, which the MPC strongly dismissed. Now, Saudi Arabia says its key east-west oil pipeline and several energy facilities have been fully restored after damage from recent Iranian attacks amid Gulf tensions. The Energy Ministry, through the Saudi press agency, said operations are back to normal, with pipeline again pumping about 7 million barrels per day. Earlier strikes had cut output by around 700,000 barrels daily at affected major fields including Manifa and Kurais, which are also still under repair. Riyadh also confirmed casualties but said its oil infrastructure has now regained full operational reliability after restoration work. Now, the Iran and United States failed to reach an agreement after marathon talks in Islamabad aimed at ending the Middle East conflict, despite a reported final and best offer from Washington. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said the 21-hour negotiations focused on Iran's pledge not to develop nuclear weapons but ended in deadlock. Intelligence reports also suggested China may be preparing to supply Iran with air defense systems, though Beijing denied involvement. The U.S. and Israel agreed to a temporary pause in strikes as diplomacy continues, but major gaps remain over sanctions and regional security. Now, House Minority Leader and four-piece party-list Representative Marcelino Libanan has proposed using government earnings from the Malampaya Deep Water Gas to Power project to fund coastal petroleum storage facilities. Libanan said Malampaya royalties, estimated at over 18 billion pesos annually, are meant for energy development and could support strategic fuel reserves through the Philippines National Oil Company. He urged building emergency storage sites in Visayas and Mindanao for diesel, gasoline, and jet fuel as buffer stocks during supply disruptions. He also cited government data showing about 200 billion pesos in royalties collected from 2014 to 2024. Now, Sabrina Carpenter headlined Coachella 2026 with an elaborated old Hollywood-themed performance that turned the desert stage into a cinematic spectacle. The show featured a glowing marquee, theatrical sets, and narrative interludes, making the set feel like a live pop film. Carpenter performed hits and newer tracks with surprise appearances from Will Ferrell, Samuel L. Jackson, Sam Elliott, and Susan Sarandon, adding to the production's flair. The performance was widely praised as one of the festival's most ambitious, further cementing her status as a leading pop and entertainment figure. Now, Creamline showed championship poise in the 2026 PVL All-Filipino Conference, overcoming a tough path to the semifinals to defeat top-seeded PLDT in a 5-set thriller at the Mall of Asia Arena. The Coal Smashers, who earlier endured 3 preliminary losses and injuries, pulled off a comeback win before over 12,000 fans. Bernadette Pons led with 28 points, while Gemma Galanza and Eliza Valdez added key contributions. Coach Sherwin Meneses credited the team's resilience and experience. Creamline now prepares for a crucial matchup against Signal for a finals return. Now, a quick look at today's horoscope. Today calls for caution and steady progress, Cancer. Be careful while driving and stay alert throughout the day. Financial constraints begin to ease, and past commitments may finally move forward. Your professional efforts could bring mixed results, so stay proactive with follow-ups and keep things moving. Consistency and attention to detail will help you make the most of today's developments. Now, Katribu, did you know that on April 13, 1870, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, also now called as the Met, was officially incorporated in New York City, marking the formal birth of what would become one of the world's most influential art institutions. Founded through the efforts of American expatriates in Paris and prominent New York elites, the museum was created with a mission to establish a public national institution and gallery of arts. The incorporation granted by the city required that the museum's collections remain open to the public year-round and free of charge, shaping its enduring public mission. It would hold its first exhibition in 1872, but began building its collection immediately, acquiring works such as the Roman sarcophagus and later the Sasnola collection of Cypriot art, would establish its reputation in ancient art. Early acquisitions of European pieces, including works by Dutch old masters, quickly elevated its status. By 1880, the Met moved to its current home on Fifth Avenue, where it grew into a global cultural landmark. Today, it houses millions of works spanning every continent and attracts millions of visitors annually, standing as one of the world's most visited and respected museums. Now, this morning's viral comes from an Instagram reel that has racked up 2 million views, featuring a dog that resembles a Pokemon character. In the clip, the dog's bright yellow fur makes it look like Pikachu. The uploader even captured it Pikadog, while netizens flooded the comments with jokes like rice ko sa mang inasal and mukhang Spanish bread, among other funny reactions. And that's all for now, mga katribu. Join us again at 1 o'clock p.m. for more updates. This has been Eliana Lacap for Tribune News on Q.